Okay. This video is the last one in the series of videos for the modifications done to this plane. It have a new and redesigned cockpit. Perhaps one of the most important features of this brand new cockpit is the fact that the plane now is capable to look down. While in the air, while flying, it is possible to turn around and look down through this floor. It has kind of like a helicopter type of cockpit, giving a very good quality video. Also, the new design offers a huge improvement. The center of gravity of this plane is directly in between these two holes right here. Okay, and if you look at it from the grand design, about 80% of the plane is behind the center of gravity. Then you turn around and put a motor that usually goes about right here in this place, and it becomes increasingly harder and harder to find this plane with the correct center of gravity. You have too much weight in the back. To solve that problem, I moved the motor from here. I literally chopped the tail of the plane, and I moved the motor about 10 inches, 12 inches closer to the center of gravity. Nevertheless, it have a extension shaft, and it have a pillowcase bearing over here in the back. This pillowcase bearing is the support right here. It is using an Army leg long range system, and I have the wires directly to the autopilot. I'm using a current sensor. Everything is working. Sadly, I have to say that the autopilot didn't fulfill the goals that it was supposed to, and well, it was impossible to make the automatic antenna tracker work, so I have to literally dismantle another plane and pull out the teleflight in order to send a signal to the antenna tracker and get this thing to track. I find myself disappointed, but I guess that, well, anyway, those two features have made a huge difference in the way that this plane handles. Also, I purchased twice a gimbal, and twice I couldn't make it work. It was totally impossible to make the gimbal works accordingly. Perhaps I'm not that type of person. I couldn't make it work. So what I use is a simple El Cheapo 3-axis stabilizer from Howie King, and the stabilizer keep this guy pointing in the right direction no matter where the plane banks or moves. It's actually pretty decent. It does a pretty decent job. I am very comfortable with that. I will be using 2 set of batteries, or 2 battery banks to say it correctly, and they are 8,000 milliamps. It was kind of disappointing and keep those batteries for almost 6 months without use, and one day I came back and they were looking like an American football. Were humongous. The plane as you can see, the plane is connected, but it uses a key. You connect the key, and the entire system comes alive. There is a segregation of power in the system. In the bottom we have the 12 volts, and it feeds the camera, it feeds the transmitter, and it feeds the autopilot. And in the top we have the power supply for servos and the receiver only, which means that in that way I don't have to be worried about the back on the ESC for the motor. The plane is pretty nice, and I have really good experience with it. In the past I have a serious amount of problems getting this to turn 100% to each side. I say that I am adequately satisfied.